All right, for 15, they want the normal line, the slope. So that's just going to be, find the slope of the tangent line, and then you're going to do the perpendicular. So we're going to find the derivative. So I did like chain rule. So 1/2, rewrite it, lower the power by 1, derivative the inside. So we want it at 0. So you could just plug in the point. So 16 minus 0 is 16. Square root of 16 is 4, but that's going to go to the bottom. So we get -1/8. So this is the slope of the tangent line. So normal line is just going to be the negative reciprocal. It's like a perpendicular line. All right, this one is a cross section with a square. So this one, well, it's twofold. First off, you need to remember how to integrate ln of x. So we did it by integration of parts. It was something that I told you guys that I thought you should just memorize it, just because it does show up every now and again. So the integral of ln of x is x ln of x minus x. So when we did this by integration by parts. I would not recommend doing integration by parts for that. Just memorize it, okay? So remember, for a square, we're just doing like a cross section. So if you have, let's say, a curve like this, like that. So we're just trying to find this distance here, and then it's kind of like we're building squares out of it. So this is the length, so it's upper minus lower. In this case, the lower is the x-axis. So we're going to get the square root of ln of x minus 0 is going to be like your radius, sort of. I know we're not doing circles, but it's the distance between the two. So upper minus lower. And then, so we get square root of ln of x, and then we square it because you use the formula for the geometric figure. So because it's a square, it's just the integral side squared and then dx. So that's all I did here. So we got ln of x, which demanded that you know how to integrate ln of x. Okay, so again, memorize it, and then you just plug in the bounds, and you should get 1 for that one. All right, this one, we talked about it in class with somebody. I don't remember who, maybe Eric. But when the powers are the same, you're going to do long division. Okay, so if you divide the bottom into the top. So I'm looking at this, and I need this. So I put a 1 here to get the x squared, so it cancels. Make sure you distribute. You get x squared plus 1. And then you subtract and you subtract, so we get -1, and then that becomes your remainder. So -1 over x squared plus 1, which is arctan. Okay, so if we integrate, we have this term and this term. This just becomes x. This is arctan of x. And again, plug in your bounds. Arctan of 1 is 45, so pi over 4. And then arctan of 0 is 0. So you should know those. So arctan of 1 equals pi over 4. That's because the tangent of 45 is 1. So you're working backwards, okay? And then arctan of 0 is 0 because tangent of 0 is 0, okay? All right, this one is partial fraction decomposition. So when it's 1 higher on the bottom like this, or just when it's bigger on the bottom, and the bottom factors, you want to be able to factor it. So I'm going to have x plus 2. So you're going to break it up. So it's going to be non-repeated linear factors. So you're going to do a over the first one, b over the next one. If you had a third one, you just do c over the third one. And then we set the top equal to this. So we're going to bring up this. So ax plus 2, bx. So we end up with this here. Okay, and then you just pick arbitrary values, but we could actually pick whatever makes it 0. So like I'd start with -2. If I plug in -2, this goes away. So plug in -2, you get -1 equals -2x. You solve it. So that, I put x here, but that should be, that's b. This is b, and then you do the same thing. Then I'm going to pick -2. Oh, actually, I picked 0 here. So pick 0. This goes to 0. So you get 1 equals 2a. The a is 1/2. And then you just plug them back in. So we end up with this. So it's 1/2 over x, and then 1/2 over x plus 2. But I factored out the 1/2. This is ln of x. This is, you could do it as a u sub, But again, it's just going to be ln of x. And then you just integrate term by term for that one. It got a little, not weird, but with the logs, a lot of times they condense or expand it. So that's how I ended up with ln of 8 minus ln of 3 over the 2, like that. Okay, so I think I multiplied these two to get ln of 8. So this is the same thing. Again, it's partial fraction decomposition. So you're going to set it up where you have your factors. So it's a over the first one, b over the second one. You cross multiply, so it's a times x plus 2, b times x minus 1. It's kind of like you're getting a common denominator. And then we set it equal to the side, and then you pick your arbitrary value. So I'd start with -2. So you're plugging -2 in for every x. This goes to 0. So we get 1 equals -3b. That allows me to solve for b. So you get -1/3. Come back to it again. X is 1. And then plug it back in, and we get a is 1/3. So again, it looks like this. I take out the constant, and then most of the time with partial fraction you get ln's here. You could do it as a u sub if you need to, but the derivative of x minus 1 is just 1, so it's not going to affect it. You do need to be careful though if this is like 2x minus 1 or 1 minus x. I would say just do it as a u sub, but we end up with that. And again, I think they condensed here. Remember, minus is division. This one is integration by parts. So for integration by parts, you want to use either Lipit or Eilate. So P or A is algebra or polynomial, and then E is exponential. That's exponential there. So algebra usually comes for exponential. So my two terms are x and then e to the 2x. Before you started, I would definitely consider, what's the word? A u sub, but u sub is not going to work here. So this is your algebra. So since that one shows up first in our little acronym, you're going to let that be u, and then dv is everything else. So u is whatever shows up first on this, and then dv becomes everything else. Okay, so, and then we just kind of go through it. So u, derive it, you get du is dx, dv is everything else, and then integrate up to get that, and then you just plug it into the formula. So the formula is uv minus the integral of v du. This one, hopefully you can just figure it out from the notes, but we can't integrate this one here. So that means you should be able to graph it, okay? So in this case, if you remember from pre-calc, x squared plus y squared equals r squared is a circle. So when I solve it out, this is actually a circle just written in a different form. So it's the top half of the circle, and then it's the bottom half of the circle. So the plus is the top half of the circle. So this is basically a semicircle, but they're only asking us to integrate from 0 to 2. So I drew it over here. So you're actually only doing a quarter circle here with a radius of 4. So radius of 2. So pi r squared is 4 pi, but we're doing 1/4 of the circle, which gives me pi. This one is one of the first things we did this year in the Calc 2 class, where you had that indeterminate form where you have 0 to infinity, infinity to infinity, infinity to 0. All those, it's basically a function to a function, okay? You're going to ELN it. If you ELN, because look what happens. These cancel, so this is actually equal to this. Hopefully you can see that here, but if it's e to the ln, it cancels. So it's just another way to write it. And what that does, we're going to ignore the e for now. We're going to bring it back in the end. But what that allows me to do is bring the cosecant in the front here. And this is L'Hopital. So your goal here is to get infinity over infinity or 0 over 0. So cosecant is really sign on the bottom. So that's all I did here, and I plugged in. And I did, in fact, get 0 over 0. So from there, I do L'Hopital, derivative of the top. So remember, it's u prime over u. And then over that. And then you plug it in. I get the 2, but you have to go back. Remember, we took the e out momentarily. We have to bring it back in once we solve it. And then this one for 72. They're asking you to find f prime. So this is really easy to do. You just want to, you're taking the derivative of only the x. So think about how we do a power rule. If you have x squared, it's 2x lower the power by 1. So if I have x to the 2n minus 1, you're going to bring it down. So you get 2n minus 1, x, lower the power by 1. And that's it. And that's all that I did here. And then you'll see that some of the stuff actually, in fact, cancels when you do that. And the same is true for integration. You can raise it up by 1, divide by the new power, but you're only doing it to the x. Okay, that's important. This one, so again, hopefully from my notes you can tell what happened here, but I rewrote e to the x, or e to the u. You should know e to the x, okay? So e to the 3x is basically plugging in 3x for u. So that's all that I did here, and I simplified it. And they wanted the x cubed coefficient, so we could just figure that out from there, okay? All right, then for this one, let me see if I remember what I did for this one. They're asking us to find f, but they give us f prime. So one thing to think about is, and again, the reason we have these Taylor series is to have it as a polynomial, because then we could derive it or integrate it pretty easily. So keep that in the back of your head. Okay, so if I can find f prime of x squared, so that's what I did first. And they were kind enough to give us this, right? So this is sine of x. So you could do it like as a u idea. We could do sine of u is equal to u minus u cubed over 3 factorial plus u to the 5th over 5 factorial. So if I want sine of x squared, everywhere there's a u, I plug in an x squared. So that's all I did here. So this was a function for the derivative of that. So if I want f, I'm just going to integrate it, right? Because we know that if we integrate f prime, we get f. So I integrated. They wanted the coefficient of the x squared. So I knew it was going to come from this one because I'm raising it up by 1, dividing by the new power. So I just went ahead and did that, and then I calculated the coefficient from there. And then this one, I'm going to hold off on this one. Ryan, if you want to come in tomorrow, this one, I looked this one up online, and I found 2 different answers multiple times. When I first saw it's a really old question, and they don't really ask it like this anymore. So I had a little, not difficulty, but I'm not really sure exactly what they were asking. So the first thing I thought about was alternating series. So you absolutely need to know that. So if they're asking the Taylor series, blah, 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 the maximum value. So this is actually asking you for the error, okay? Because remember, if you have a function, or let's say an approximation, right? So let's say f of 3 plus your error actually equals the function, right? So if the function is ln of x, and I minus the polynomial, I get the error. So that's how I interpreted it. And it said 3 terms, so then you go to the 4th term. So I would say for tomorrow, that's what you need to know. When they're asking for error for alternating series, it's the first neglected term, so it's the 4th term. To get the 4th term, you would just come up to this and plug in 4 and see what you get for that. So that was the first thing, but that's not actually how you do this one. So what they're doing here is they're actually asking you for, then I thought it maybe was Lagrange because they were giving you that. Remember we talked about that z value is always between the center and the x value, but they're not explicitly giving us an x value here, so that's part of the problem. So what they want, this is definitely a calculator question. So what they wanted you to do here was to check both endpoints to see which one gave you the maximum value. So like you have a calculator, right? So you could do ln of x. So you could actually do, so x is going to go from 0.3 to 1.7. So what this person did here was they did it for 0.3 and they did it for 1.7. So they actually calculated ln of 0.3. And then, so this f of x is basically the 3rd, because it's saying it's using 3 terms. So what they're doing is, for this, they're plugging into this 1, 2, and 3, right? So you're summing up the first 3 terms. So you're plugging in 1, you're plugging in 2, you're plugging in 3. to get the third, the sum of the first three terms. So that's what this is right here. So then if you subtract these two, which one is giving you the maximum value? And that's all that they did here, was they basically did both extremes. It's a very bizarre question. Probably not the best one to pick, because they don't really do this much anymore. We came across this actually in the notes. It was kind of a weird question. Yeah, so I would say don't really worry about this question, but I would say you absolutely need to know alternating series. If they're talking about the first three terms, which they are, you're looking for the fourth term. So you plug in the 4 into the series to come up the value of the fourth term. That's your error term. But I can talk to you tomorrow about it. Just coming a little bit early. Hope this helps. Email me if you have any questions. Bye.